So I am really late to the party, but almost a month ago, the UFC announced that Venum was going to be the new UFC official apparel partner in March of 2021 after the Reebok deal is up. Now, when I heard the UFC was going to do another brand apparel deal, I immediately buried my head in my hands because you can literally point to that last brand deal as directly or indirectly being a reason as to all of the problems most fans have with the UFC promotion. By the way, if there's a brand that wants to sponsor a leg kick, I'm game. I'm just going to take 80% of the cut and give 20% to the rest of the team. But seriously, I was upset until I heard it was Venum. Now, to many casual fans, that might not ring a bell, as Venum doesn't have the same name value as Adidas, Nike, Reebok, or any of them. But Venum has been a mainstay in combat sports ever since their inception in France in 2006. The Venum brand specializes in many quality combat gear, and many fighters were actually sponsored by Venum before the Reebok deal. So while to many this could look like a step down, hardcore fans know this is a big win. With that being said, I still have PTSD from the last brand sponsorship deal, so I made a list of 10 things that Venum should do as the new official apparel partner of the UFC. Real quick before we get started, I do recognize that some of these things Venum can't get to, and that's fine, but 10 things Venum could do doesn't really search very well, so sucks to suck. Number 10, get the names right. Now, we start the bar off pretty low here, I know, but we have to, because if I see Anderson Aldo, I'm gonna snap. Now, it's no secret that Reebok really pooped the bed when it came to their early launch. They were misspelling names on shorts, getting locations wrong, even nicknames. It was a disaster. This honestly makes the organization look bad, but it makes the sport look bad. So avoidable mistakes as this are really jarring to see, because this isn't 1997 anymore. MMA is a billion-dollar industry now, and it's finally garnered some semblance of a mainstream. So let's keep that mainstream legitimacy here and make sure that we're accurate in getting the names right, and please don't piss anybody off by not including Northern Ireland on a shirt. Number 9, make the fight kit look good. Now, I know a lot of negativity gets spewed towards Reebok, and most of it is justified, but on the bright side, I actually really liked the Reebok designs. Fashion is definitely subjective, but I really did like the look of the hoodie and the shorts for the most part. The short colors being according to your country, in theory, is actually a really good idea. The black and gold champ shorts looked awesome, and I was even a real big fan of the white and gold interim champ shorts. Even the shirt designs were kind of cool, and the hoodies were kind of nice. The point is that when it comes to fashion, Venum does actually have its work cut out for it. Now, I think Venum can actually come correct in this aspect, as they've been making gear for a long time, but I'm just saying it's a concern. Number 8, make the shorts comfortable to fight in. Now, aside from a couple wardrobe malfunctions with the Reebok sports bra, which, good God, that's actually not very good. But aside from that, I haven't really heard any major issues from fighters being uncomfortable with the fight kits. I'm not saying that there weren't, and let me know if there was, but for the most part, there weren't really any issues. With that being said, it's bad enough that these guys have to physically impose harm on each other. Let's make sure that they do it while being comfortable in their gear. And to be fair, Venum can do this in their sleep. They've made a lot of pioneering additions to their stuff when it comes to combat gear to make it actually very comfortable. I'm just saying, please, 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 let's make sure that the gear is comfortable. Number 7, put the Fire MMA Gym somewhere on the apparel. Now, admittedly, this one's a bit of a selfish one, but I think the main talking points amongst hardcore MMA fans is about MMA gyms and, by extension, a fighter's camp. The conversation among hardcore fight fans usually goes something along the lines of how a camp switch could help or hurt a fighter. What are the best camps to fight in? who's the best coach, etc., etc. The point is, most hardcore MMA fans know how important a good MMA gym is. The problem is, most casual fans have never even heard of a quality MMA gym. That's a shame to me. And I think it would be a really subtle way of getting some free advertising towards those MMA gyms. Now, I get it. The UFC doesn't co-promote unless it's Conor McGregor. But I think this is a great way for the UFC to really build the brand of MMA through showing some of the great fight gyms that consistently pump out great UFC talent. Now, obviously due to a fighter switching camps, logistically this could be a nightmare, but I'm not asking for it to be on the merchandise version, I'm just asking for it to be on the fight gear version. Which leads me to my next point. Number 6, make the UFC apparel accessible as possible. Now, I admit this could probably just be a Toronto only issue, or maybe an Ontario only issue, or even Canada, but it's really hard to find UFC gear in this country. Unless you're ordering it online, you'd have better luck finding the Easter Bunny than you would finding UFC gear in a store. And I know all the kids shop online, but oh my goodness, I just used the I know all the kids reference. I'm getting old. I'm getting old.
Hello darkness, my old friend.
But anyway, seeing something in the mall is important because it's free advertising. And MMA doesn't really get a lot of that, in all honesty. It's not like Venum isn't in stores anyway. You could probably find some sort of Venum gear anywhere from your mom and pop hardcore combat store to Walmart and Sports Check. So please, Venum, when your stuff comes out, make the shorts and hoodies and any kind of gear as accessible as possible to purchase in a store. Number 5, pay the fighters. You knew this one was coming. It's no secret that the Reebok deal really slashed the fighters' pay. Now, of course it was because of sponsorships not being allowed, and we'll get to that one in this video, but the other is because they didn't really properly compensate the fighters in general. This came in the form of a measly $3,500 if you're starting out in the UFC, to a feeble $40,000 if you're a top level fighter. And let's be honest, that's way too low for a professional sports league that just sold for $4.2 billion. Now, I understand that UFC COO Lawrence Epstein, no relation to the other Epstein, said that fighters would get a, quote, sizable increase. But the numbers haven't been released yet, and I hope that that means it's going to be sizable enough that fighters don't have to work second jobs in order to support themselves. And I'm not just talking your jobber fighter. I'm talking highly touted prospects saying that they work as servers. That can't happen anymore. And I think Venum can have a hand in preventing that if they pay the fighters like they mean it. Number 4, aim for fighter individuality in the apparel. Now, as much as I like the design of the Reebok shorts, there is a concern that it made every fighter look the same. First of all, sometimes you couldn't tell countries apart. Canada looked like Poland, Australia looked like Brazil, but whatever, let's get past that. My big pet peeve is that it's hard for a fighter to stand out when all their shorts look the same. And I get it, there's more to being a star than wearing the same shorts, but there's something to be said for the fact that you can tell who a fighter is by the shorts they're wearing. I know for a fact every fight fan can remember Rich Franklin's pink and brown shorts, Chuck wearing the blue Iceman shorts, Forrest Griffin wearing the brown and brown trim fighter shorts with the sprawl right across the side. Every fan can remember Rampage with the black and camo. Even people remember how big of a deal John Jones's Nike sponsorship shorts were. By the way, John Jones really screwed the pooch on his career. Jeez. Man, he really crapped the bed on that one. But anyway, the point is that fighters really stood out back then. And I think a large reason why is because of the shorts. So I think Venum needs to aim to make every fighter stand out when it comes to their fight shorts. Number 3, exclusive fighter deals. You know how in the NBA, Michael Jordan has shoes with the iconic logo, you know, you know what I'm talking about. And a whole bunch of basketball players now have their own shoes with their own logo under a clothing apparel company. And by a whole bunch, I mean damn near half the league. I think the UFC and Venum should get fighters doing that. I think one of the biggest mistakes with Reebok was not only that they waited until 2020 to have a Conor McGregor shoe, but they didn't design a Conor McGregor logo as well. Venum should learn from that and start signing guys to exclusive brand deals where they get their own apparel line with a logo. Now, if you're saying, wait a second, Reebok is still going to take care of shoes, well, no problem. Venum can still make shoes, and it doesn't mean that Venum doesn't have to be exclusively signing fighters to brand deals with shoes. It was just an example. Imagine a Daniel Cormier singlet with a DC logo, a Stipe logo on hats, an Ngannou logo on gloves, Khabib logo on shorts, etc. Best part is they can still have the Venum logo on it somewhere, and it'll make money for Venum in the long run. Now, the reason this is on the list is because Venum needed that relationship of being the official partner, and also this is a win-win for them, the UFC, and even the fighters to make some money and get some market appeal. Regardless, I think it's a money-making idea. Number 2, market the fighters. Now, here's a hot take. It doesn't look like Reebok put a lot of effort when it came to marketing the brand of the UFC in their partnership.
You're goddamn right.
Here's where I think it really showed too, is when it came to marketing the fighters. How many cutouts did you see of a fighter wearing Reebok gear when you went to your local mall? How many times did you hear about a Reebok event that featured a fighter meet and greet? How many Reebok commercials did you see with a fighter that wasn't Conor McGregor or Khabib Nurmagomedov? I honestly think Modelo Especial did a better job of marketing the fighters than Reebok sometimes. And that's saying something. Anyway, you get the point. There was a lot of mistakes made with Reebok when it came to their partnership, and I think Venum can learn from those mistakes, especially when it comes to the marketing department. Now, admittedly, Venum isn't Reebok when it comes to name value, but it doesn't mean they can't try some things and actually put in some effort when it comes to marketing these fighters. And number 1, allow the fighters to have sponsors. Everyone and their mother knew this was going to be number 1. Now, I'm going to try to keep this as brief as humanly possible, but it's no secret that fighters pre-Reebok were making a boatload of money off of sponsors alone, and that money got slashed as soon as Reebok stepped in. Also, it's no secret that fighters don't make a lot of money in their base pay. In fact, most fighters actually do need to work a second job to support their journey in the sport, at least until they get to a ranked UFC fighter level. So it's mind-boggling to me that they don't allow fighters to make money off of their fight shorts. See, to me, I always saw it as a win-win. Fighters got paid, and the UFC didn't have to pay fighters out of their own pocket or hear complaints about fighters not getting paid enough. Now, of course, it would be insane to see 30 sponsors on a pair of Venum fight shorts. Worse yet, seeing Hayabusa on a Venum fight shorts. Could you imagine seeing Hayabusa just right there, just chilling right beside the Venum logo? Oh, that'd be insane. Anyway, with that being said, there are organizations and leagues that allow their own teams to look for outside sponsorships and put them on the team's jerseys, and they still look relatively dignified. Everyone loves a Manchester United jersey, but it had literally a Chevrolet logo parked right in the middle of that jersey. So if some of the best leagues in the world do it, why not the UFC? Now, admittedly, it's easier to work with teams on sponsorships than it is to work with fighters, and fighters by nature are not bureaucratic. With that being said, you can get a fighter to do anything when it comes to money. If it means signing a couple extra papers or following a deadline and adhering to some rules, they'll do it. Now, I know what everyone else is thinking. Why would the UFC and Venum agree to that? Well, let me paint you a scenario. Let's say I'm a multi-sport athlete. I can play football, basketball, and I do some wrestling. The UFC already has an uphill battle in getting athletes to come to their sport in comparison to those other sports for a number of reasons actually, but the main reason is money. The UFC is not going to pay NBA money to their fighters. It's just not possible right now. But it's actually really sad to see some of these feeble salaries on the internet. So if that multi-sport athlete, let's say it's me again, Googles the average salary of an MMA fighter, and then here's all the horror stories, i.e. Miles Jury's breakdown of what he made for the Diego Sanchez fight, then as a multi-sport athlete, why would I choose MMA in comparison to the NFL and NBA? I'm not getting punched in the face, I don't have to worry about fighters pulling out, and I'm making more money to do those other sports anyway. If the UFC wants to change that, then I think sponsorships can help with that perception that fighters don't get paid a lot. And it can help supplement fighters' income anyway. So I don't see why this isn't a win-win for the UFC and Venum. Plus, it will bring multi-sport athletes and increase the overall quality of the sport. Okay, that's the video, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe. Also, tell your friends because the word of mouth is free. We also upload podcasts and a short video pretty much weekly, so we'll stay consistent. Anyway, thanks for joining, and until next time, I will see you soon.